Present.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. Ms. Carrillo is attending remotely tonight, and Mr. Kramer is also attending remotely tonight, but may not have full connection at this time. First item on the agenda is approval of the board workshop minutes from August 8th, 2025. The recommended motion is that the board accept and approve the minutes of that workshop on that date. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
I'm going to give Mr. Bowden the motion and Dr. Garrett the second. Thank you very much. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. The next item is approval of the regular meeting minutes for the board meeting held August 11th, 2025. The recommended motion is that the board accept and approve the minutes of that meeting. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Ms. Golden-Miyarki, a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dr. Garrett. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We move in the absence of public comment for agenda items. Mr. Finnegan?
If I may, it just occurred to me that with the new committee structure, the Finance Committee minutes from back in the spring still haven't been approved because we haven't had a meeting after that. Haven't had a Finance Committee meeting, but actually now I'm thinking that we have to wait till we have the Finance Committee meeting next week to approve the minutes from the spring to have them approved here in October. So the way we're doing it now with Finance sets things back.
It gives it an extra several months, given our summer hiatus. Thank you very much. We move.
Mr. Ethan Kramer has joined the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. We move to, we also have an absence of a student council report tonight, so we move to the superintendent's update, and I will introduce Dr. Rizzo-Saunders.
Thank you. So we had our opening of school, which was just wonderful. I know we had some bumps along the way, but every school year does. We have some wonderful pictures. We had our annual tour of the district, which starts with us all spread out over the district, helping with the Mary D. Lang buses, and starting at Mary D. Lang, and we see all of the schools that day and try to touch base with as many teachers and students as we can. So that was a second time we've done that. We had a great time. We've had multiple back to school nights, including Bancroft, Greenwood, and New Garden. And I think this week Mary D. Lang will have theirs. And the middle schools is late next week. We use that time for parents to meet their teachers and to better understand the expectations. We also had an assignment this year for our parents, and that was, we called it family homework. We sent it out a couple of different times, and that was a very successful campaign. At this point, as far as our forms and our agreements and acknowledgements, 53% of our agreements and acknowledgements are in. Our medical information is at 54%. Our parent contact information is at 55%, and our emergency contacts are at 56%. If you are watching from home and haven't gotten that in yet, I'm going to use this as a commercial break and ask you to please get that to us so we can do the best by your children. When I was here, I did present the strategic plan, and we are going to be working on communicating that out in October, and giving parents and community members both an opportunity in English and Spanish to hear more about our strategic plan. So stay tuned for that information. One of the things that we have started this year is evaluating our school counseling program. In order to do that, we have actually brought in ASCA, which is the American School Counselor Association, and asked them to train us on how we should conduct a comprehensive school counseling program evaluation. So while many of our staff were involved with curriculum mapping on our in-service day, we were working to evaluate the school counseling program under the direction of our Assistant Superintendent of Pupil Services. And this is really vital. We're going to be doing student focus groups and other stakeholder feedback opportunities, and it's really important for us to be able to evaluate that program and decide what the direction of that program will be over the next 5 years. So part of our strategic plan. Just to give you an update on our curriculum mapping, we are continuing to work on our guaranteed viable curriculum across K to 12. This has been a all hands on deck kind of effort, and we do have an incredible group of committed professional staff who are working to help us with that. We want to make sure that we are providing the opportunity for a consistent guaranteed viable curriculum to all students, no matter who their teacher is or what school or classroom they're in. I do want to spend a few minutes giving you an update on the choir trip to China. So the choir trip to China is obviously a great opportunity for our students, and it's not only for them to be able to perform, but also for them to really connect with the culture, create new friends, and develop new perspectives. Unfortunately, UNESCO, which is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, was the person that was going to underwrite the financing for that trip. That is at risk because of the present administration has decided to pull out of UNESCO, and that has put this opportunity at risk. So we know we won't be able to go in November because no one could pull that off. Well, maybe a very, very talented travel agent, but not me. But we aren't going to quite give up yet. Our connection, Eddie Tang, who is our connection with UNESCO and with China, is looking to develop other means to finance the trip. And there is a meeting scheduled in the next couple weeks for us to talk about other funding options. It's an unfortunate impact for our students. I already talked about the family homework and also did a commercial break, but just in case you didn't hear it, we really need homework to be finalized. So, and we also have National Hispanic Heritage Month coming up, and that arrives on September 15th and runs through October 15th. And during this time, we'll celebrate Hispanic and Latino communities. And while we do that all of the time across the year, this is a time for us to give extra recognitions to the contributions that they have given, not only to our community and to the culture of the United States, but also to the advocacy work that has created opportunities for our students, specifically in Kennett Consolidated School District. Our athletes are back on the fields. If you haven't had a chance to go out to a game, there are games happening every single day. I unfortunately did not get to the field hockey game this afternoon. Did we win? Does anyone know? No one knows yet. We'll find that out. Our football team is 3-0, so that's always a great way to kick off the year. See what I did there? Kick off the year. And our middle school has plenty of sports, and if there's anything that students want to do, they are more than welcome to come out and join us. And with that, I will wrap up our superintendent's report and open it up for questions.
Thank you, Dr. Rizzo-Saunders. Any questions or comments?
I have a question. How much money does it cost to send our students to China?
We would it's going to be between about $3,500 and $5,000 a piece.
Okay, thank you. A piece?
A piece, so every
And
child.
how many kids go?
We were hoping for about 60.
So that's a big budget item.
Yes, this is not something that we could replace. This was an incredible opportunity.
Because of UNESCO.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Bowden. Any other questions or comments? Moving on, we move to the facilities report. Mr. Bryce.
Dr. Rizzo Saunders, President Cronenberg, members of the board, staff, and community members, good evening. The facilities report for September the 8th is as follows. The new garden project update. The project continues to track on schedule. Major progress includes completion of exterior insulation, cafeteria stairs, roof access ladders, gym windows, second floor terrazzo flooring, and front entrance stonework. Playground equipment has arrived on site, layout is complete, and installation has begun. Current efforts are focused on brick veneer, exterior stonework, wall finishes, window installation, and interior systems such as ceilings, ductwork, electrical wiring, sprinkler rough-ins, and drywall finishing. Site work is advancing with curbs, footers, and walls are all underway, while the Area B site wall is pending brick installation. Overall construction activities are steadily progressing. The Greenwood Elementary update. The project remains on schedule. Key accomplishments include completion of Basin 1 and its temporary parking lot, excavation and preparation of Basin 3 for construction parking, and installation of a new water main along the front and west side of the property. Roofing has been completed in areas A, B, and C. Stairways are installed in areas D and E. And the pedestrian crossover bridge from areas C to E has been poured. Additional progress includes completion of spray foam insulation and air barrier work on the north sides of areas A and B, as well as the transition from temporary to permanent internet service. Ongoing efforts are focused on roofing in areas D and E, cold steel framing and sheathing in areas C, D, and E, and continued CMU installation in area C. Interior masonry walls are advancing across all areas with mechanical copper line installation and bathroom plumbing carrier placement underway. Overall, the project is steadily progressing across site work, structural systems, and interior trades. The district office update. The fiber optic line from the district office to the annex building is being moved. The line will be relocated outside of the construction area so it will not be damaged and construction can start to ramp up. Some Kennett High School project updates. Fencing repairs and replacements were completed in the stadium. The repairs were due to tree damage from storms this summer. Central maintenance provided power to the newly installed projection screen in the auditorium. A fob reader is scheduled to be installed on the athletic trainer's room on October 2nd in service. Kennett Middle School. The bathroom conversion project in B108 has been completed. Enhancements to the fitness center are finishing up. We are still waiting on a couple pieces of equipment. Mary D. Lang projects. Rooftop HVAC units had duct detectors integrated into the school's fire system. A fob reader is scheduled to be installed on door 12 on October 2nd as well. Additional updates, I would like to take the time to thank all the custodial maintenance staff for their work this summer. Our summer consisted of 39 work days. Their efforts were greatly appreciated. They always seem to come through. This concludes the facilities report for September the 8th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bryce. The buildings look awesome. They do look awesome. Any questions or comments for Mr. Bryce? Mr. Bryce, do we have a new Kennett sign above the press box in the football stadium?
Yes, that was there last year.
That was there last year?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. It looks wonderful, even if I didn't notice it last year. We move to the financial reports. Mr. Tracy.
Thank you, President Cronenberg. We have the usual and customary monthly reports. The full report is in board docs. Starting on page 1, we have the revenue summary report for the period ending August 31st. At the tail end of the revenue summary, we have our list of scheduled cash and investments of $44,161,499.80, and Schedule A, which lists all of our fixed investments. On page 4, we have the expenditure summary report, which details our expenses in our budgetary format. On page 9, we have the food service profit and loss report. We had a small profit of $584 and a year-to-date loss of $5,600 plus change thus far. Please note that the National School Lunch Program, as well as Chartwell's bills for the upcoming year, have yet to start. On page 9, we have the Capital Projects Fund report, which details our current bond proceeds and expenses associated with both New Garden and Greenwood Elementary Schools. On page 12, we have the interim real estate report. This is a relatively large one this month of a little over $124,000. We did have a couple of breaches of properties. There are many properties that are more than 10 contiguous acres. These are the properties that are under development. The one in question right now is on Thompson Road where they're developing. So that property comes out of a Land Preservation Act. It's either 515 or 319, depending upon the circumstances. But then there's rollback taxes if it's fair market value. So what we typically receive on these properties larger than 10 acres that are one of those acts is usually about 10% of the taxes. Upon breach, which they're dividing it up into 51 parcels, we then receive the revenue at fair market value for each parcel. That rolls back 7 years. So it's a relatively large sum of money. We'll see the same thing for the projects on Bancroft Road and for the one on Walnut Road eventually. So once the subdivision plans are finalized, we'll see the rollback taxes. This is just for the land component. As those dwellings come online and are sold, we'll start seeing then the additional dwelling come on our tax rolls. And finally for this evening, unfortunately, is our enrollment report for the month of August. We're down about 120 students over this time last year, puts us at 3,750 students currently. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. Any questions or comments?
Is there any indications of why we're down 100 students?
We really don't put a lot of emphasis on August enrollment report. We'll really take a closer look at next month. There are a lot of enrollments that are currently included that will be dropped after our 10 days of reporting the kids present until they aren't. So then we'll pull those off, but we can take a little deeper dive. Our kindergarten is the largest factor right now. Our kindergarten number is up to close to 300, 305 at its max last year. It's down to 260. So that's the largest component of it right now.
And Mark, are those in line with like projections for student enrollment?
No, I mean, our last official projections were done when we did the Bancroft Elementary School as required by PDE for a building project. That did show a decline, but staying at about 3,800. So we're sort of hitting that ballpark. Last year, the spike did help us sort of come out of that. Just depends upon what enrollment report. We did commission a demographer to look at 2 specific areas. One is Parkside, which is up off Walnut, 190 homes going in there. And the other one is White Clay Creek Development Point, right down off of Newark and 7 Point. I have sent that to New Garden Township, but we've been working closely watching that development. I do have those in hand, and we'll be reviewing both those demographers report, which shows enrollment impacts K to 12. So we had to break it up between elementary, middle school, and secondary. So we'll be taking a look at that at the Finance Committee meeting in October. We do need students. You know, we are building some sizable buildings, so those 2 developments will impact us greatly.
Thanks. And Mark, can you confirm that East Marlboro is delaying their earned income tax, so we're not going to have the tax decrease for Independent One for this budget cycle?
That is correct. They're calling it, I believe, a deferral or a delay in enacting a earned income tax for East Marlboro. We did confirm it both with the township manager as well as Keystone Collections, which is the common remitter for all of Chester County for earned income tax.
That's good news. Mark, remind me, if you remember, did we see an enrollment drop in the spring of last year?
Yes, if you actually look at the enrollment report, you'll see that we ended significantly less than we began. So yes, there was natural, I think, attrition as we go through the year. We'll see our enrollment go down. Some of the cyber schools do pick up as we go throughout the year as individuals are, navigating their way through our education system. Some choose an alternative education. So we typically have the same amount of students. It's just what bucket they're in, whether it's our public school or cyber.
I'm also wondering if there's any trends, other trends that may be impacting us. So I'll look forward to that October report. Thank you very much. We move to the TCHS and CCIU report. Dr. Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Cronenberg, and good evening, everyone. The Chester County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors held its monthly meeting on Wednesday, August 20th. I have 4 items that I think are noteworthy to share with you. The first is the Child and Career Development Center is now at the Eagle Education Center, which is a newly designed facility, and it's welcoming 72 students from 10 school districts. It will feature 10 specialized classrooms, including life skills support, autistic support, multiple disabilities, and emotional support. There's also an early childhood program at the Eagle Education Center set to serve 173 learners from birth to kindergarten, offering preschool, special ed, Head Start, early Head Start services. These include classrooms for speech and language, developmental delays, and autism support, along with family services and upcoming food and clothing pantries. The BVA, which is the Brandywine Virtual Academy, reported a successful summer program with 711 students, 1,285 course enrollments, and 147 graduations. This coming year, the enrollment has increased by 20%, reaching 2,600 students. That's quite a lot of students that are getting their education virtually. The last item, the Technical College High School anticipates an enrollment of 3,007 students, which again is an increase across all 3 of its campuses. And it continues to enhance career readiness through 8 pre-apprenticeship programs, dual enrollment, work-based learning, and job shadowing. The next CCIU board meeting is going to be held on Wednesday, next Wednesday, September 17th. And it's going to be at the Engle Education Center, and they're having their ribbon cutting ceremony there at 4 o'clock next Wednesday. If anyone's interested, you're more than welcome to attend that. And the board meeting will follow at 7:30 at the Engle Education Center. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Garrett. Any questions or comments for Dr. Garrett? Very good. Next up is the Legislative Council report, normally presented by Mr. Kramer. With Mr. Kramer being remote tonight, he has asked me to say that the minutes of the last Legislative Council meeting are in the board packet. Please refer to those minutes if you're interested. And I would state that they are interesting and they are impactful to the business that we do on a daily and monthly basis. But I thank Mr. Kramer for his attendance and for his report. I'm also going to take a brief time out to refer back to the superintendent's report. After further review, it has been determined that the field hockey team beat Oxford today 2-1. So good stuff there. Ms. Marsala, the personnel report.
Good evening, President Cronenberg, Dr. Rizzo-Saunders, members of the board, community, and staff. It gives me great pleasure this evening to present this personnel report for September 8th. We have 3 resignations, a few leave of absences, and the bulk of the report at this time is really the supplemental report that goes into September. So that's the bulk of this report.
Thank you, Ms. Marsala. The recommended motion is that the board approve the following personnel changes as presented. All personnel hires are contingent upon securing required certification. May I please have the motion?
So moved, Myers.
Second, Finnegan.
Thank you very much. Any questions or discussion? As always, a lot going on in this report, and I appreciate the fact that we have a lot of returning coaches as well as some new ones that I see. So good stuff there. On the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Ms. Marsala, attainment of professional employee status, item 4.2.
Yes, and this evening, it gives me great pleasure to, if I may, take a moment just to announce the names of all of our current temporary professional employees that will be recommended for satisfactory becoming professional employees. Jacqueline Abes, Morgan Alexander, Jeffrey Anderson, James Bailey, Nicole Bench, Sarah Canillo, Alexis Culbertson, Sarah Courteous, Megan Zaracki, Emily Forcina, Brian Ford, Courtney Gerber, Laura King, Catherine McCumsey, Hunter Mueller, Jennifer O'Neill, Rita Perez, Alexa Pazzini, Megan Prosock, Nally Ramirez, Amy Schulte, Brain Steele, Gabriella White, Allison Wolf, and Kathleen Zimmer.
Ms. Marcella, thank you very much. This is an informational item. No vote is needed from the board. We congratulate these members and staff employees on their attainment of professional status. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Marcella. We move to the bill list. Mr. Tracy.
Thank you, President Cronenberg. The Treasurer's Report begins on page 2, attached in Board Docs. The general operating bill list for the period of August 15th through this evening in the amount of $4,837,939.29. There's a relatively large $1.6 million debt service payment included. There's an additional $2 million listed as payroll disbursements. As a reminder, the PNC procurement card is listed at the end of the bill list. We also give Mr. Finnegan a much more comprehensive look at the PNC spending. On page 15, we have the athletic fund bill list, which represents payments for officiating our boys and girls fall sports. On page 17, we have our internal service fund for our self-insured health care, medical, prescription, and dental in the amount of $710,456.21. On page 19, we have the capital reserve bill list in the amount of $192,626.20, which represents payments for various facility improvements as outlined in our district's 5-year capital improvement plan. On page 21, we have the capital projects fund bill list in the amount of $4,023,579.02, which represents payments associated with the new elementary schools. And finally, for this evening, on page 24, we have the food service bill list in the amount of $24,113.33.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. The recommended motion is that the board approve the bill lists. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Finnegan. Second.
Second, Myers.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. Any discussion? On the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We move to new business. Item 5.1 is a student trip. Mr. Batten, last year's choir retreat was so wonderful, we're going to do it again.
That's the plan, now that I got the mic working. Right, so I came this time last year to ask about a choir retreat weekend, so asking for permission for an overnight trip. It was wildly successful, not only for the musical aspects, but the sense of community aspects, and I would like to build on that success and reprise it.
The recommended motion is that the student trip be approved in accordance with Board Policy 121, field trips. The details of the retreat weekend are in the public comment section of the agenda item. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Ms. Golden-Miyake, thank you. Any discussion?
No, I always like approving successful trips. We have it with the, we have it with the mock trial, we have it with the robotics club, we have with your choirs, and it's the reports we get back of how much, how successful they were, how much they learned, how much they enjoyed it. It just makes sense to do it again. I mean, it's not China, but it's a retreat.
And I'll never, I'm always down for giving opportunities, regardless of whether they're local or far.
Any other questions or discussion?
I wanted to also say thanks for doing it, and it does have a great history, and glad you're doing it again, and appreciated the thoroughness in which you kind of put the write-up together. It's always helpful for us to understand the history and what you're going to be doing, so thanks for doing that.
Absolutely, thank you.
And I appreciate that you're doing it as well. And I know it's tough to fit it in with the fall schedule and marching band and all of the other musical activities that are going on. I know you're working it around senior night. I look forward to hearing those details, but that's a lot of work.
Successful. I think I have a couple of things on my sleeve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Batten. We move to KMS Boys Volleyball. Dr. Moore.
Good evening, Dr. Rizzo. There we go. All right, good evening, Dr. Rizzo Saunders, President Cronenberg, members of the board. We are rolling into year 3 with boys volleyball at Kennett Middle School, so this is exciting news for me to share. Feels as though my part has been minimal, and a lot of credit needs to be paid to Sophia Belinsky, is really an advocate for kids and the sport. Her son Adrian played at Kennett High School and at the collegiate level, and she's been integral in making sure that we prioritize boys volleyball, not only as a club the last 2 years. I just thought of this, that we can view this process like bump, set, spike. Like we've done the bump, which is 2 years of club and self-sufficient funding. So we're here tonight to request to move to the spike, which is we become an official sport for 2 years, and provided that they continue to fund themselves and also that there is sufficient interest among the players, then the spike would happen in 2 years from now when we move it to official coaching stipend as well. So it's been a great program. It's very fun seeing our boys, another opportunity for kids, a lot of organic interest from Coach Laser and Coach Gianpietro. Dr. Barber and Lauren Gottstein have really helped make sure we're lined up with PIAA. Fast-growing sport, we just don't want to miss the train. So we're here to ask for your permission to move from the bump to the set for boys volleyball.
Dr. Moore, thank you very much. The recommended motion is that the board approve boys volleyball at Kennett Middle School. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Mr. Finnegan, you get the motion. Ms. Golden-Miarki gets the second. Any discussion or questions?
Hi, moving from a club to a sport, is that going to change the opponents, the travel time, anything, or is it the same people?
That's an excellent question, and I really credit Dr. Barber and Sophia for doing the homework on this one. So it does. It would mean that if we move to a sport, we're no longer eligible to play club teams, but there are enough schools that are moving to a sport level, so we'd still be able to field enough opponents of people that are categorized as sports and not clubs. It's a great question.
I would just like to applaud your metaphor.
Thought of it right here, but thank you. Half of what I do is metaphors. A third.
Mr. Moore, Dr. Moore, sorry, do you know in 2 years when we get to the spike phase, does that come back before the board?
Yep, we're going to follow the same process that we've done. I'm trying to think, I've been here 11 years, which is pretty long, but right before I had arrived, they went through this process with middle school boys football, and it's 2 years of club, all self-funding and no stipend for coaches. Then they move to a sport phase where they're still, they fund themselves and they graduate. So we'll be back again before we go for the spike, just to say we've made it for another 2 years, credit the right hardworking people again, and say we want to make it as official as possible now.
And between you and I and everybody else who's going to continue to be involved, let's make sure that the spike gets to be part of that motion.
Deal.
In 2 years. Sounds good. On the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you, Dr. Moore.
All right, very much appreciated.
Ms. Marsala, item 5.3, ESS.
Well, it's hard to follow all these cool student things coming up, but this evening I have an addendum to our agreement between Kennett and the ESS, which is our subservice. And this addendum just adds the ability for us to hire some of the subs that work with us all year long over the summer, that we've had some of them interested in becoming part of our ESY program, either coming in as sub-teachers and or coming in as PCAs for our students. And our original agreement only really addressed the full school year. It did not address any of the rates that we pay teachers and pay our PCAs, the hourly rates that we pay them in the summer. So we would like to add this addendum so that we can utilize some of those same staff members as part of our summer ESY programs as well as throughout the school year.
Thank you. The recommended motion is that the board approve the addendum with ESS. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Ms. Golden-Merricky?
Second.
Dr. Garrett, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Ms. Marcella, it's hard to follow the student pieces, but it's an easy process. We move to item 5.4, Lexia, and Dr. Miller.
All right. Good evening, President Cronenberg, Dr. Rizzo Saunders, and members of the school board. This evening, I'm presenting for your approval the purchase of Lexia Core 5. This online program will serve as a supplemental literacy resource for our K-5 students of all reading abilities. Lexia Core 5 offers a blended learning model that combines adaptive, independent student learning through its online platform with teacher-led targeted instruction and ongoing data collection to monitor student progress. This supplemental online resource is grounded in the science of reading principles and offers explicit and targeted instruction. The proposed funding source for this purchase is our Title I funds.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. The recommended motion is that the board approve the agreement with Lexia for elementary ELA software. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Dr. Garrett? Mr. Bowden, second. Thank you. Any discussion? Dr. Miller, have we used Lexia before?
We have used Lexia in the past, not full K-5. It was used in targeted schools and things throughout the year, and we did have it during COVID for some time.
I thought so.
The funding had been an issue, and this is something that the teachers have repeatedly asked for if we could get back again. The resource is a solid resource that both students and teachers find great success with.
I appreciate that we're being responsive to that request. And this is a question for you or perhaps Mr. Tracy or Dr. Rizzo Saunders. Do we have our Title I funding? What's our?
Yes, Title I funding was not a source that was in question.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion? On the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We move to a student agreement. Ms. Jones.
Good evening, President Cronenberg, Dr. Rizzo Saunders, Board of School Directors, colleagues, community members. Administration is requesting this evening that the board approve the confidential agreement with the parents of a student. Due to the confidential nature of this agreement, I am unable to answer questions or discuss the contents in a public meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. The recommended motion is that the board approve the confidential agreement with the parents of a student. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Mr. Finnegan?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bowden. Dr. McVeigh. I'm out of bounds on that one, obviously. There is no opportunity for discussion, and off we move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you, Ms. Jones. We move on to you again for the item 5.6,
So could we clarify with, I believe it's coming in on the mic, it's sounding like it's coming in as in opposition to or as, so.
there's a
Okay.
mic delay, and Ms. Carrillo, I think we're hearing you, and you are clearly coming through as an aye, but I am not waiting for you to come through. So that's what we're hearing.
We'll wait.
Yeah, I need to wait a little longer before calling for the nays. Ms. Jones, item 5.6, Pupil Services Department contract renewals.
Administration is requesting that the board approve the contract renewals with FIC Educational Services, ProCare, and Soliant.
Thank you. The recommended motion is that the board approve the contract renewals with FES, ProCare, and Soliant. May I please have the motion?
So move Myers.
Thank you.
Second, Finnegan.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. And we move to item 5.7, growing through dyslexia.
Administration is requesting that the board approve the contract with Growing Through Dyslexia for structured literacy tutoring services using the EBLI approach. EBLI stands for Evidence-Based Literacy Instruction. The district will contract these services until trained staff members in each building can deliver this instruction.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. The recommended motion is that the board approve the contract with Growing Through Dyslexia for structured literacy tutoring services using the EBLI approach. May I please have the motion?
So moved, Myers.
And second, Finnegan.
Thank you very much. Any discussion?
Do you have any notion, what percentage of our students suffer from dyslexia?
Hang on, Ethan, there's another question coming right now.
So I wouldn't have stats specifically on dyslexia, but in terms of students that qualify for services under the category of specific learning disability, which is where dyslexia falls, they account for the second largest portion of our special education population. So it's much more prevalent than people think. And I will share with you that early intervention and appropriate instruction, are what we're doing around the science of reading and structured literacy is going to benefit all students, but especially students that have dyslexia.
I mean, that's higher than I was aware of, so, but thank you.
Yes.
Okay, Ethan.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. Mr. President, and thanks to everybody for your patience dealing with me while I'm away dealing with a family matter. Dyslexia, interestingly, has been something that has not received enough attention. And it's important to me to note that our pupil services and special education department and the many people who work on these issues for our students are really at the cutting edge. So dyslexia has, up to very recently and still in many places, to my knowledge, is not even acknowledged in IEPs, is not seen as its own distinct issue, and in fact, it's something that affects a whole lot of people, including many people I'm close to. And so what I want to make clear is that we are in a lot of very positive motion in terms of our efforts in special education in particular, and this attention to dyslexia and this contract that puts us, I think, ahead of the curve in general terms in education in this country. That's a very positive thing. It reflects a commitment of a whole lot of people to making sure that not only are we getting to the mark, but that we in fact are getting us ahead of the curve as fast as we can. So thanks to everybody who has worked on this. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Any other questions or comments? On the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Next up, Ms. Jones, is item 5.8, Learn Well.
Administration is requesting that the board approve the contract with LearnWell for one-to-one academic tutoring services. LearnWell will be utilized during the school day to support IEP, homebound, or other student-specific needs. Outside of school hours, LearnWell will only be used if no appropriately certified KCSD professional staff are available or interested.
Thank you. The recommended motion is that the board approve the contract with Learn Well for one-on-one academic tutoring services. May I please have the motion?
So moved, Myers.
And second, Finnegan.
Thank you both. Any discussion?
Just wanted to say kudos for having contingency plans for these things. We're seeing that a lot with a lot of the services that are under your purview, that we have the primary service, but then if we need to move to a secondary, tertiary provider, we'll have that kind of enabling list already ready, so we don't have to kind of be reactive. We can be proactive with some of these things, so just wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Item 5.9, Ms. Jones, the Mazick Group.
Administration is requesting that the board approve the contract with Mazick Group LLC for school-based behavioral consultation and support services as outlined in the agreement presented. I do want to make a note that Mr. Mazik has actually been working in the district for a number of years with another agency and has decided to branch out on his own. He is with us this evening. I don't know if you want to give a little wave. But we are very excited to continue working with him.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. The recommended motion is that the board approve the contract with Mazik Group LLC for school-based behavioral consultation and support services as outlined in the agreement presented. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second? Second. Mr. Bowden, thank you. Any discussion? On the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain, Mr. Cronenberg, due to a conflict of interest as a member of both the CCIU board and the Kennett board.
Thank you, Dr. Garrett. The motion is carried. And Ms. Jones, your term is completed with item 5.10. Mr. Andy Danilchik.
Administration is requesting that the board approve the contract with Andy Danilchik of the University of Pennsylvania Graduate School of Education to support the expansion of the Community of Collective Care Initiative, which focuses on staff mental health and well-being. Each month, interested staff will gather to focus on wellness, mutual support, and sustainable practices for thriving in and out of the classroom. They will engage in meaningful conversations, calming activities, and will learn and share practical tools to support mental health and well-being. I have some comments from staff that I want to share who participated in the pilot last year. These are anonymous. We try to create a safe space for people, but I'm going to share some comments. Thank you. This is the first opportunity in my 19 years that the district has offered something like this, and this action really shows an understanding of the overwhelming need for mental health help. Thank you for realizing that many teachers, staff, and administrators are struggling while working with kids is the best choice I could have ever made. Consistently feeling that I'm never enough is a lot to wrestle with. And last, thank you for giving this a trial run. I've had peers leave the field, and maybe with this type of support, they would have stayed.
Ms. Jones, thank you, and thank you for sharing that. The recommended motion is that the board approve the contract with Andy Danilchik of the University of Pennsylvania Graduate School of Education, aka Penn GSE, to support the expansion of the Community of Collective Care, a staff mental health and well-being initiative. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
And second.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
Really happy we're doing this. I mean, it's with our staff, our educational staff, with what's going on with the students and with the world and with pretty much everything that everyone knows about. It's really good to support them, and hopefully it will have them, stay in their positions and not, abandon education due to overwhelming factors. So I think it's money well spent.
Ms. Jones, I appreciate you going through this list of things, and we all appreciate the work that you've put into your department and everything in terms of identifying outside agencies that we need to contract with. So I have a question, and if this list already exists, then I'm embarrassing myself. But you come to a lot of meetings and you kind of help us understand what they are and what we need. It would be great, I think, if we had sort of a master list of sort of what is the concept or what is the core competency that we're trying to fill, who is the agency, what is the contract duration, and we can kind of put this all together in sort of a master document. It would at least help me understand, all the places we've got tentacles going out. We've got the backup plan. As Ms. Myers said earlier, it's great to know that we've got backups if we need them, and in some places we've got primaries. So if you could do that maybe before the next board meeting, that would be great to see all that in one document.
So we do already have a list created for the department, just because we have to track the contracts for renewal purposes. And so I can easily add a few additional fields to that document and share it with the board for your knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. McVeigh, would you like to request that the board approve your personal request? Let me phrase it that way.
Sure.
For purposes of governance, let me phrase it that way. The motion is that the board requests the document as outlined by Dr. McVeigh from Ms. Jones. Thank you. May I please have that motion? May I please have that motion?
I think he made the motion, but if not, I'll make the motion.
Okay, and we'll take that as a second. Any discussion?
Can
All in
I
favor?
really quickly just add, just because we have a contract with an organization, a company, doesn't necessarily mean that we're currently procuring services or staff from them. Again, we talked about contingency plans. So at present, we're not planning to use LearnWell unless we absolutely need to, but they would be on deck. So I can also make a note if we're using a particular agency or not.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Thank you, Dr. McVeigh.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. We move into the closing area, and, God willing, this is likely to be the shortest board meeting of the year, depending on what Dr. Rizzo-Saunders has to say.
So you need to go back. There was a motion on the floor and approve Mr.
Thank you. I
Danielewicz.
do. I
Yes.
do, yes.
That's my job.
I went a bit out of order and approved a motion within a separate agenda item, but I think, I think that I will call that item 5.11 as approved, and on the motion for Mr. Danilchik. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions?
Those are ayes.
That motion is also carried. Thank you, Dr. Rizzo-Saunders. I appreciate that. We move forward into the calendar of events. I would like to recognize, for those of you on video and those of you in this room, that right now going on at the Mary D. Lang Kindergarten Center is the book sale. And you're welcome to stop by if you have a student here and look at the books and get some books for your children. So it's fun to be here during the book sale. It really is kind of fun during that part of it. And moving along in the calendar events, Monday, September 29th, we have the Policy Committee meeting and the Curriculum Committee meeting at 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. as our committee meeting structure gets going again. Thursday, October 2nd, there is no school. It's a Teacher in Service Day. Monday, October 6th, we have a 6 p.m. Communications Committee meeting and a 7 p.m. Finance Committee meeting. Stay tuned for that Communications Committee meeting. If we have news about it, Finance Committee meeting will be at 7 p.m. And our next regular board meeting is Monday, October 13th at 7 p.m. Is there any further business for the good and betterment of the KCSD? Hearing none, I appreciate Mr. Kramer and Ms. Carrillo's attendance remotely. It's a pain, but I thank you both for continuing to fulfill your vows, as it were. So thank you very much for joining remotely. With that, we are adjourned.
Thank you, Dr.
You talked about a building that had Head Start. And it still has Head Start in the store. Here we go.